David Gilmour was never the loudest voice in the room, yet his presence reshaped rock music in ways few artists ever manage. While many guitar heroes relied on speed, volume, or spectacle, Gilmour chose restraint, emotion, and space. His playing does not overwhelm, it invites. Each note feels deliberate, almost conversational, as if the guitar itself is breathing and reflecting. In songs like Comfortably Numb, he proved that a single, sustained note, placed with care, could carry more emotional weight than a flurry of technical fireworks. Gilmour never chased fame or controversy, yet his sound became inseparable from some of the most influential albums in modern music. His power lies not in dominance, but in empathy, in the ability to translate feeling into sound. This is the story of a man who spoke softly, played honestly, and ended up echoing louder than generations of noise-driven legends. Childhood in Cambridge and the Shape of Silence. Born on March 6, 1946, in Cambridge, England, David Gilmour grew up in an environment defined by intellect rather than emotional warmth. His father was a university lecturer and zoologist, his mother a journalist and later a film studies teacher. Their home valued ideas, discussion, and academic rigor, but emotional expression was subtle and restrained. David was a sensitive child, observant and inward-looking, often feeling overlooked amid adult conversations focused on work and theory. There was no trauma or cruelty, only a quiet, emotional distance that shaped his inner world. He learned early to sit with silence, to listen rather than speak, and to process feelings privately. These formative years nurtured a deep introspection that would later define his music. Gilmour did not learn to shout to be heard. He learned to wait, to observe, and eventually to express himself through melody when words felt insufficient. Discovering music as refuge. School years did little to change David Gilmour's sense of quiet separation. He was neither rebellious nor academically driven, existing somewhere between worlds. What changed everything was music. When his mother gave him a guitar at around 10 years old, it became more than an instrument. It became refuge. Without formal lessons, Gilmour taught himself by listening to records, absorbing blues, early rock, and folk influences. Artists like Elvis Presley, the Everly Brothers, and American blues musicians shaped his understanding of tone and phrasing. Hours alone with his guitar allowed him to translate emotions he could not articulate into sound. Music became a private language, one that felt honest and safe. Instead of competing for attention, he explored texture, mood, and space. These solitary hours forged the foundation of his distinctive style, expressive bends, lyrical phrasing, and a sensitivity that made restraint feel powerful rather than empty. Syd Barrett and the Birth of a Direction. While studying at art school in Cambridge, Gilmour met Syd Barrett, a charismatic and imaginative figure whose creativity would soon ignite Pink Floyd's early identity. Their friendship was rooted in shared musical curiosity and long improvisational sessions. Where Barrett was unpredictable and flamboyant, Gilmour was steady and reflective. This contrast created balance. As Barrett's mental health declined under the weight of fame and substance use, Pink Floyd faced an uncertain future. Gilmour was invited to join initially as a support guitarist, not a replacement. When Barrett ultimately left the band in 1968, Gilmour inherited a role burdened with emotional weight and expectation. Rather than mimic Barrett or impose himself forcefully, Gilmour chose continuity and care. He respected the band's origins while quietly guiding its evolution, transforming loss and instability into something enduring and emotionally expansive, shaping Pink Floyd's emotional language. The early 1970s marked a slow but decisive transformation for Pink Floyd, with David Gilmour's guitar becoming central to the band's emotional language. Albums like Rattle revealed his growing confidence and ability to sustain long, immersive compositions. The track echoes demonstrated how texture, delay, and melody could create a sense of vast inner space. Gilmour was not interested in dominating the music. He wanted to serve it. His approach emphasized atmosphere and emotional continuity, allowing listeners to feel rather than simply hear. When The Dark Side of the Moon arrived in 1973, his guitar work helped translate abstract themes, time, mortality, anxiety, into something deeply personal. He turned philosophical ideas into emotional experiences. Success came not through force, but through patience, collaboration, and a deep understanding that music's true power lies in connection, not complexity. Artistic peak and emotional storytelling. During the mid-1970s, Pink Floyd reached an artistic height that blended technical ambition with emotional honesty. Wish You Were Here became a quiet elegy for Syd Barrett, and Gilmour's playing carried grief, nostalgia, and compassion without a single spoken explanation. Shine on You. Crazy Diamond stands as one of rock's most emotionally resonant compositions, its slow build and aching guitar lines inviting listeners into a shared sense of loss. Gilmour's genius was his ability to make personal emotion universal. Later, on The Wall, his work on Comfortably Numb elevated the song into something timeless. The solo does not impress, it confesses. It moves slowly, deliberately, as if searching for meaning in darkness. Gilmour proved that vulnerability, when expressed honestly, can be more enduring than aggression or spectacle. Leadership without ego. As tensions grew within Pink Floyd, particularly with Roger Waters, Gilmour remained consistent in his approach. Where Waters favored sharp political commentary and confrontation, Gilmour leaned toward emotional nuance and reflection. When Waters departed in the mid-1980s, many assumed the band would collapse. Instead, Gilmour quietly stepped forward, guiding Pink Floyd into a new chapter without public drama. Albums like A Momentary Lapse of Reason and The Division Bell reflected introspection, memory, and reconciliation rather than conflict. Songs such as High Hopes felt like gentle farewells, not declarations of dominance. Gilmour's leadership style mirrored his playing, understated, thoughtful, and rooted in listening. He showed that authority does not require volume and that creative continuity can exist without ego-driven confrontation. A private life, grounded in integrity. David Gilmour's personal life has always mirrored his artistic values. He values privacy, stability, and authenticity over attention. After his first marriage ended amicably, he found a deep creative and emotional partnership with writer Polly Samson, whose lyrics enriched his later work. Family life became a grounding force, offering balance after decades of global attention. Beyond music, Gilmour's actions consistently reflect principle. He has supported charitable causes quietly, most notably auctioning his iconic guitars to raise millions for climate and humanitarian efforts. He does not cultivate controversy or seek approval. Instead, he lives with a sense of responsibility toward both his art and the world around him. This alignment between values and behavior reinforces the sincerity that listeners hear in his music. Gilmour does not perform integrity. He practices it. Legacy of subtlety and endurance. David Gilmour's legacy is not defined by excess, but by depth. He changed how the guitar could speak, less as a weapon, more as a voice. His influence can be heard in generations of musicians who value emotion over speed and space over noise. More importantly, his work continues to resonate with listeners who find comfort, reflection, and honesty in his sound. Gilmour shows that art does not need to shout to endure. His music invites pause, introspection, and feeling in a world often overwhelmed by urgency. In choosing subtlety, patience, and emotional truth, he created something timeless. David Gilmour reminds us that sometimes the quietest voices carry the deepest echoes, and that silence, when shaped with care, can speak louder than any roar.